Now with the rear brakes, you start off with breaking the lug nuts while the vehicle is on the ground. Now once you get them broken, you can lift it up, and you want to loosen them by hand. And then you pull the tire off. Now you're going to see two big Phillips screws there. You take a Phillips screwdriver, and they may be a little tight. You want to remove the drum. Now these brakes are covered with brake dust. I recommend you take a brake cleaner and spray it down, and make sure the contents go into a pan. Now the first thing you're going to do is you're going to take this pin out. That's the one at the 4 o'clock position. This is a special brake tool. You should invest in one of these if you're going to be doing this regularly. The bottom spring slides out. Put them in a can and don't lose them. Take the top spring and put it away. Don't lose it. Now we disconnect the brake pad, and we are going to call this a butterfly fit here. This is a butterfly hole, and it has a male butterfly connection. That's very important for holding the brake and the brake pad in place. Now let's do the same thing on the other side. Let's remove that clip. Now we have a small spring on the top, and that's going to come off. It fell down, but we picked it up and we put it in the can. We don't want to lose it. Now remember, the square-shaped hole again is where it disconnects, and that's the main place it holds those brake pads on. Now the self-adjusting mechanism for this car is here, and it fits through that butterfly hole there. Now that goes through the front of the brake shoe, and then there's a series of teeth. And to take this off, you have to adjust it or pivot it kind of forward. Now I'm going to show you here in just a second. Now to reset this assembly, you've got to slide it forward and rotate it. This is an important part of doing the rear brakes. You see, he pulls it forward and kind of rotates it. And then it sets up. That way the teeth are straight out, and then it kind of fits through that butterfly hole. You might want to run through it a couple of times if you're not sure, but that is what you need to have. It must stick straight out. You're going to have to turn the brake kind of to install it, and it's a little tricky. You have to go kind of on an angle. We will show you here. You push it or turn it straight forward, and then turn it to the left, and that's your main connection. It slides in there. Now the brake shoe is going to snap at the bottom, and here you'll see an opening that automatically fits right in, and you'll hear a snap. Now to hold the shoe in place, we're going to slip a clip over there and connect it with a pair of pliers. We'll get into further detail here in just a second on the other clip. The clips are pretty easy to put on. Now that's how they're supposed to end up looking. Now you remember there's a funny little spring that we dropped earlier. Now that's how it fits in on that S going up. Now it's a tough task to do this stuff by yourself, and it may take a couple of tries, but there's no need to panic. Just take your time. You want to use, again, the needle nose pliers. You've got two places where the spring's going. Compare what you have, take a look at it, make sure that it's seated very well. Now the brake shoes are going to fit down there on the right side, just as it did on the left, and we are going to go ahead and put that spring clip on there. Now you have to reach around and the pin will come all the way through the shoe. Now you're going to install the spring clip, and I told you we will take a little more time with it here. The needle nose pliers, if you get a hold of it right there, is a good way to do this. And you take a screwdriver and it'll give you extra pressure. You put it right on the top and push down and then turn it, and that spring's going to hold it in place. Now we've got a spring that is going to go into these two holes right here. It's pretty evident. Make sure they're seated properly. We have the same thing on the top. This is what holds the brake shoes together. We have a large hole on the top left. Pretty simple. Hook it into the left and use that special brake tool. I'm sure your parts house would be glad to sell you one. Now you use the needle nose pliers and it's done. Now one thing that you should know is that the adjuster may have come out, so you've got to, in order to push the shoe in, reset the parking brake. We're going to show you how that's done. And I mean, take your time and look at this. It's very important. That's how it's going to look. You take a screwdriver and push it in, and that will get your adjustment up on top. Now your parking brake is set again. Now recall that we took the drum off. Put the drum on the same way. You've got two Phillips screws that go in there. Rock it back on. This will come off easier the next time. Go ahead and connect all the Phillips head screws, and you're done. Now if you need to go back over it, freeze it and take your time and look at it. It's very important. And make sure you check your brake fluid level after you're finished.